This is Michigan's retirement coach, Mike Douglas.
I guess we've already been fully into the throes of basketball season. You and I were talking before we came on the air about what the holiday break was for you. And I was just like, it sounds like there was presents on Christmas morning, a quick visit with your granddad in Delaware, and then right back to basketball playing as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
It's, we do shut down a little bit because I think it's good for kids to do that.
Yep.
But yeah, we open up. We have Christmas Eve service at church. Christmas morning, we open presents. And then a couple hours later, we hit the road, drive to Delaware, spend time with my grandfather, who's 95 years old, still driving, still serving at church, still doing all the stuff he likes to do.
Yeah.
We were there for 5 days, drove back, and then we did my wife's family's, Kimberly's family stuff on New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the water park in Frankenmuth on the 1st. And then the second, basketball. Friday was all basketball all day for practices, and Saturday we had games and just a whole lot of stuff going on. So it's a great way to kick off the year.
It's needless to say, a busy time for you. And any parent coming off the holidays, you think it'll slow down a little bit. It does not. As you're listening to this program, if you have kids, you are well versed. Hopefully, though, as you're getting closer to retirement, you're starting to ease up a little bit. Maybe your kids are out of the house. It's time for grandkids to be coming into your life. And you've got different things to focus on, a little bit more of your personal time back. And now you can focus on your goals for the years ahead. So let's talk about what folks that are retired or getting ready to retire can be thinking about regarding our economy for 2026, Mike, because obviously we've been hearing predictions the past several weeks coming into the new year and now in January. Investment strategist Joe Tanias is excited about the possibility of more interest rate cuts, higher earnings, and a gradual broadening of the market beyond tech. But he also tells CNBC what's making him nervous about this year. Here's what he said.
There's a lot of anxiety about a bubble, about what's happening with tech and what's happening with AI, a lot of this concentration. Of course, inflation. The reality is inflation is likely to move higher, at least in the earlier part of the year, and that may certainly pour a little bit of cold water on hopes that the Fed is going to come out and cut monetary policy perhaps more aggressively than we'd like. So make no mistake, there are a lot of things to be concerned about. But I think about where we are today relative to where we were just a few months ago, and I think the risks have come down materially.
There are always a lot of things going on with the economy, though, Mike. So regarding its constant moving parts, what can retirees do so that they're not constantly stressed out by it?
Well, I think that you just need to be very aware of your own situation.
Sure.
This is really hitting home quite a bit. Actually, I forgot to tell you this before we got started today, but my dad officially retired January 1st.
Hey,
I
congratulations.
finally got him to retire.
He's been an Army man his entire life since the day.
51 years.
God bless him.
He did 21 years active duty and then 30 years as a civilian for the Department of Defense.
Wow.
And he finally retired January 1st.
That's
and
exciting.
so I was so proud of him, so grateful for his service. And my mom still won't. So, but
your mom's a nurse,
she won't
right?
retire.
Dad's an Army man. Mom's a nurse. They've been doing these jobs.
We got her down to like 2 days a week is where, but she's, when you grow up,
quit though, Mike.
Well, when you grow up a poor farm kid, and my dad grew up a poor minister's kid, like you work. He's been working since he was 10 with a paper route. Mm-hmm. My mom's been working since she was 10 babysitting and then got a job as a waitress so that's who they are.
Yep.
But to retire is to take the headlines and try to disseminate them into personal decision making. And I had someone who just came in recently. He's been retired, but he said, basically, I'm glued to CNBC. I'm really struggling because he'll shoot me these emails. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Every expert has a different prediction about rates, earnings, tech, recession. Mm-hmm. And basically he kept getting stressed out by it. And it was just always wearing on him. And what's interesting is he really didn't want a forecast. What he really wanted was just reassurance. Right? Because if I go through and give him my breakdown of the economy over the next 3 to 5 years and where I think baby boomers are helping and hurting the economy and where kids are helping hurting the economy and where crypto falls in and foreign currency, like we can go through all that stuff. But at the end of the day, he was saying, how does it affect my regular life? I'm retired. How does it affect my living? And that's what people want to know. Mm-hmm. So we just had to go back through and remind him. We walked back through his income plan. We stress tested against different economic scenarios and said, what if the market crashes? What if it takes off? What if inflation goes up? And we run it through our scenarios that we have. And we just showed him that his retirement isn't dependent on getting 2026 exactly right. And it wasn't dependent on the government doing him any favors or the stock market doing him any favors. And after that, when we finally walked through it, he said, that's the first time I feel like I'm going to be able to sleep well and have good peace of mind. And that's what planning is supposed to do. It's supposed to help you take all the noise, sift through it, and figure out the signals and decisions you need to make in your personal life. So that's really important to have in your retirement, a confidence plan. So again, just as I was talking about my dad, he's just retiring. And we've had so many conversations about, well, one day when you retire, here's what's going to happen. And someday, and then it was coming up, and now it's actually here. And it's really time for him to retire. And it's really time for him to live off of his pensions and Social Security. And so it's all theoretical until it's applicable. And so now that's where we are. He just wants to know, my client just wanted to know, my dad and mom want to know, here's how we live and do the things we've always meant to do. Planning is not a hope. It's not a projection. It's not a, well, as long as this, then I should be okay. Planning says, here's how we make sure that our life is the way we've designed, regardless of inflation, regardless of recession. So I think that's what most people are looking for. And that's honestly what we hear from the most when people talk to us. They say, that's what's missing. I'm told, what the stock market's probably going to do. And I'm told what stocks to pick. And we build portfolios. But nobody tells me what it's going to do to me 10, 15, 20 years down the road, how much I'm going to pay in taxes over my life, what the risk level is. So that's what we need to make sure we're solving for, is not an economic outlook, but your personal finances and how you're going to use this money. That's the conversation we like having with people, is to help them understand who they are, where they are, and how their money is going to be affected by the market. So if that's the conversation you're looking for, and I get it, because I'd say 95% of people we talk to say, well, yeah, I've got someone who is I thought was an advisor, but really they're a stock picker, and they're not helping me feel comfortable in these crazy situations. If you want to have that kind of a conversation, give us a call, 616-512-2127, or you can reach out to us at michigansretirementcoach.com. They'll get a time scheduled on the calendar for you and I to talk, to hear your situation, hopefully answer your questions, and see if there's anything we can do to help. So that's 616-512-2127. But yeah, Heather, I think that more and more people are just wanting to make sense of chaos.
Sure.
Right? There's more chaos than ever.
Well, and there's more information than ever. And that's what drives the chaos. It's just like the constant, it used to be the 24-hour news cycle. Now it's the internet combined with that. And the opinions abound. Just everybody's got an opinion, a thought, an idea. And it's just like, I just need to know that I'm going to have money when I'm old. That's all. And
it feels like everybody has an agenda too, not even just an opinion.
Yeah.
Right. But it's an opinion that's backed by the money of someone else who's paying for that article. Right. It's like, oh, well, not surprisingly, the insurance people want you to buy an annuity. The stock people want you to invest in the stock market. The banks just say, keep your money in the bank where it's safe and liquid. And we can do all this. You can buy CDs and more we're seeing CDs really just turn back into certificates of disappointment. And so we got these people who are selling us all the time, rather than feeling comfortable with who we are, where we are, and how we're invested. And that's where I think you start to see the difference in like a local independent advisor versus a big box shop. And the big box shop it's paid for and sponsored by a big company, and they got bills to pay to. So I think that when we look at how to build a successful plan, I got three main talking points, three things we want to make sure we cover. Number one, predictions don't pay bills, plans do. So when you say, well, what if the market goes up or down? Well, in a down market, how do I make sure the mortgage is covered? How do I make sure my lifestyle is covered? How do I still go to Florida for 3 months? If the market's up, what do we do with that extra earnings? What do we do with those gains? And how do we use that money? So you need to have detailed plans for how to use the money, because economic forecasts, they change constantly. Interest rates go up, then down. Markets rotate from tech to something else, and they're always moving and changing. And when people come in and say, well, what do you think of this stock or this position? I'm like, I don't know. What's today? Like Tuesday? Like you have to figure it out, because they're going to change. They're going to come and go. The CEO retires or quits, and all of a sudden that's a bad stock, even though they still make iPhones or whatever, right? Like that's what we have to be aware of, is that I just don't want to be subject in my retirement life to the whims of the market or the business sector. And most people don't need to predict every move. They just need a plan that works across many outcomes, because you can't retire on predictions. You retire on preparation. If you are out there and you say, gosh, I just don't feel like I have a plan. I feel like I'm living on predictions. And whenever I meet with someone, they just tell me, well, here's what the market sentiment is. And so we should be okay. Mm-hmm. That's not a plan. And if that's who you want to talk to, is someone who actually builds plans, give us a call, 616-512-2127. So number one is predictions don't pay the bills, plans do. Number two, big box firms. I think this is where they fall short. More and more, we're seeing people just roll out these calculators. And the calculator is you put in your data and it spits out a probability of success over the future. And it just says, all right, you have $1.5 million. Then you should be able to take out this much over the next 30 years and be okay. And it's a rough prediction of how your money gets spent out. They get market commentary and they build model portfolios, but there's very little personalization. You're expected to react to the news kind of on your own, because they're going to say, well, based on this and this, I would suggest this. But what's happening is they have guys in one office at corporate headquarters who create market commentaries, and then they disseminate it down to the people who build the portfolios. And then the people who build the portfolios disseminate that down to the guy you meet with, who's just a salesman for the company. So they're not invested in your success. They have to choose the firm over you every time. So that's a tough spot. As a local independent advisor, my job is to absorb everything that we hear, absorb it for you. We translate headlines into action or reassurance based on your plan, and not just on what the market's mood is. The market's very moody recently. And I had a client a couple weeks ago say, don't you miss the days when the market would go up like 0.5% or down 0.5%, rather than everything is 1.5%, 2%. And like a bad month was a 3% loss, not an 8 or 10% loss. The market's so moody. Yeah. It's like a teenage right girl. Now. And it's just, and now that I have a 15-year-old son, I can't even relegate it to teenage girl, because now he's finally hit that.
You're those like, oh dang, it's not just a girl thing. Woohoo!
I thought I was safe until Emmy got into her teens, but no, Gavin's got some mood to him too. But that's teenagers, right? Hormones are raging, and so everything is volatile, right? And Gavin says, "Oh, you make everything a big deal." I'm like, actually, I feel like you make everything a big deal. Right now, the stock market makes everything a big deal. It's a moody teenager that says, oh, we did this. And then the next day it goes, actually, it wasn't that big of a deal. And that sounds like our dinner table an awful lot right now. And so if you allow the headlines and the economy to dictate your decisions, like the big things, rather than making personalized decisions, that's the big box model. They explain the economy, where a local advisor will explain what it means to you. We want to build those type of plans. And then number three, a good plan is built for uncertainty. We already know the economy has moving parts, rate cuts, earnings growth, market rotation, all these things. But a strong retirement plan accounts for that by building multiple income sources, tax flexibility, and buffer so clients aren't forced to react at the wrong time. That's the big thing. We want to know that when we make a decision, it's not out of emotional reaction, but it's out of solid financial decisions that's based around your family's goals, not around just a generic market commentary. So if your retirement depends on everything going right, it's too fragile. We need a plan that's built for the good and the bad. And I always go back to, do retirees need to lose sleep over economic predictions? No, they do not. That's why you have an advisor. Right. If I'm paying someone else to build a house for me, I'm not going to worry about whether Home Depot has enough 2x4s for me today. That's the builder's job. Right. That's their job to take care of it. It's my job to sit here and be excited about the house that's being built for me, to continue to live my life. In the same way, if you have a financial advisor, you should not be the one on the hook for sifting through all the economic information and making personalized decisions. The real value of working with a local independent advisor isn't beating the market. It's knowing that no matter what the market does next, you're going to be okay. That's a successful retirement plan. That's what the conversations we're having with people. If you want to understand that, if you want to live that life and start having plans built for you, not for the firm, give us a call, 616-512-2127, or you can reach out to us at michigansretirementcoach.com. Schedule a time for us to talk on the phone, 30 minutes to hear your story, to just get to know you a little bit and answer your questions, and then see if there's anything we can do to help you along the way.
Let's talk about the other thing that a lot of people are having a lot of questions about as we're getting into a new year, because as is with every year, New tax laws, new tax changes come along with the turning of another calendar year. We've got newer laws coming in, like the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, Secure Act 2.0. So what do we need to know in regards into that space for 2026?
Well, there's a lot of the stuff that stayed the same.
Yeah.
Right. So the tax laws the tax brackets were renewed. The deductions were renewed.
Okay.
And so a lot of those things stayed the same, but there's a few little fun nuggets that happen for retirees that are specific. A lot of times what happens is retirees get hosed in the tax world, but actually there was some really nice things built for retirees.
Okay.
I just had someone come in, John and Stacy. They live in Ada and they're in their late 50s. They're ready to retire. They got about 1.7 million in savings, but most of it's pre-tax. And so as we went through we just met with them late November, early December.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're building out their plan, we figured out that looking at the future of taxes, using the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, using the laws, using Secure 2.0, as the laws state today, how much do we think they'll pay in taxes over the rest of their life? And we figured out that on their 1.7 million or so, they're scheduled over the next 25 to 30 years to pay right around $2 million in tax.
More than they have saved.
More than they have saved because of their situation, what their lifestyle is going to be in retirement, what their spending levels are, and what their Social Security benefits are.
Jeez.
So as we looked at that, we said, that's a lot. That's $2 million.
Yeah.
That's so much in taxes. So we did some pretty thorough tax planning and some creative ideas. And we basically went through and said, all right, if we use these proactive strategies and we aggressively deal with taxes now, while we have the tax brackets we have, we can take that $2 million number and bring it down to about $750,000.
Wow.
That's, again, now $750,000 in taxes is still a butt kicker. It's still a real number, and it's still something you have to deal with, but it's a whole lot better than $2 million.
Yep.
And the secondary effect of that is, if I just saved $1.25 million in taxes, that means I can actually have a less risky portfolio.
Okay.
Because I don't have to make up for that extra tax money.
Got it.
So now I saved one. It's kind of like one of those things. One of the quickest way to make money is to save money. All right. So in the same way, if you want to grow your portfolios, just don't overpay in taxes. So for them, we built that strategy, and we found out that some of these taxes they were going to be paying are optional. We were able to eliminate some taxes out of their portfolio just by using the tax code to their advantage. For example, for retirees right now, you get a Social Security deduction. For most people, there's an extra $6,000 of deductions that each individual gets if you're on Social Security, and it's only guaranteed through 2028. The One Big Beautiful Bill passed that, and that was the way they kind of delivered on the promise of we're going to get rid of taxes on Social Security. They figured out that if we do this, most people won't pay taxes, but it's on top of your regular deductions. So I don't want to go too nerdy in the tax space, but basically we found out that for the next 4 years, including last year, 2025, you get an extra $12,000 in deductions, but most people don't use them. So we said, let's Roth convert and use every deduction possible to protect us for the future. There's things like that. There's catch-up contributions. You can put more in your 401ks than ever now if you're over the age of 50. There's higher deductions for your state and local taxes. It's not for everybody, but for some people, you get an extra $30,000 in deductions. That's a benefit. So there's a lot of things that have changed, and they changed kind of quickly over the summer.
Yeah.
And people are still trying to get their hands around it of what they can do. But again, just like we said, taking big economic news and boiling it down to the individual. When we sat with John and Stacy, we said, here's the deal. We can do these strategies. We can get rid of some taxable income and get rid of your more future taxes. It made a big difference to them long term, and we were able to protect more of their money for the future. These are the proactive strategies that can move the retirement needle for you. If that's what you're looking for, give us a call, 616-512-2127. Again, 616-512-2127, and we'll talk about your plan and how to save you more money in taxes.
Mike and his team, they're here to help guide you through this process, because at the end of the day, the goal is that you're going to retire one time, but Mike and his team, they're retiring every single day or helping folks do that. So they got a wealth of knowledge in their pocket that they're ready to share with you. MichigansRetirementCoach.com is our website where you can go to start the conversation with Mike and his team, or click on the links we got posted in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to Michigan's Retirement Coach with Mike Douglas. To learn more, visit MichigansRetirementCoach.com.
Michael Douglas is an investment advisor representative of Stewards Wealth Planning LLC, a registered investment advisor. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Michael Douglas is licensed in your state, please call 517-323-7526. Stewards Wealth Planning LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Michael B. Douglas, NPN number 9650939.